Trump, you are by far the worst presidential candidate in the history of our country. How anyone would support you after the divisive and profoundly ignorant behavior you displayed during your campaign is baffling. You are nothing more than a greedy, insensitive corporate executive. You should be ashamed of yourself for exploiting the plight of flood victims in Louisiana. Your gesture was noble, but your intentions were impure. When asked why you were compelled to assist the victims of the flooding, you stated you have a great relationship with the state and just wanted to help. Where was that compassion for the victims of Hurricane Katrina? Where was that compassion for the victims of Hurricane Sandy? Where was that compassion for flood victims in Burgo, West Virginia, a state that has gone Republican in the last 4 elections, and a coal mining state you promised to fight for if elected? Only reason you were there was because you're running for president. Now, you say you're the law and order candidate and will uphold the laws of our Constitution if elected. You and your supporters have no issue with exercising the rights of the Second Amendment, but can't seem to show the same passion for the rights afforded to us by the First Amendment. As Americans, we have the right to practice the religion of our choosing. So if President Obama were a Muslim, why would it be an issue? As the so-called law and order candidate, I've yet to hear you or your supporters express any compassion for the families of Philando Castile, Alton Sterling, Freddie Gray, or Sandra Bland. You have no problem condemning the actions of Micah Johnson and Gavin Long, which you should have done, but you can't seem to hold police officers accountable for their illegal actions. Why? How can you say you're the candidate the Black and Latino community can trust when you can't acknowledge that our lives matter? You have little to no interest to issues concerning Blacks and Latinos. If you did, you wouldn't be speaking to predominantly white audiences and insulting people of color by saying things like, and I quote, "You're living in poverty, your schools are no good, you have no jobs, 58% of your youth are unemployed. What the hell do you have to lose?" I'm like, really? Is that how you see us? That's how you see us, right? Wow. Okay. I'm a disabled black man with a wife and 3 children. All 3 of my children work. My wife works, and we're not living in poverty. I have 3 wonderful sisters who work and are not poverty stricken. In fact, most of the black people I know are highly educated and do quite well for themselves. You and your supporters make it seem as though the entire Black and Latino race is consumed with violence and poverty. It's mind-boggling. You and your supporters have so much to say about black-on-black crime in order to diminish the Black Lives Matter movement. Being a law and order candidate you claim you are, I think you'd agree there are 3 reasons why people commit crimes. Those 3 reasons are desperation, convenience, and flat-out greed. Black-on-black crime is high in our inner cities because a majority of the residents in these areas are people of color. Look at the number of black-on-black crimes that occur in the suburbs. It's virtually non-existent. Okay? The statements you continue to make is also insulting to educators teaching in our inner cities. Your statements imply that teachers who work extremely hard to earn the right to teach are incompetent. Teachers in our inner cities are some of the most resourceful individuals in our country. Why? Despite some of the deplorable conditions in inner city schools and having to educate students with limited resources, those wonderful men and women have made a positive difference in the lives of thousands of children throughout our nation. Maybe if you decided to hold a rally at Hartford Junior High School in Canton, Ohio, Falls Church High School in Falls Church, Virginia, or maybe at Venus and Serena Williams Southeast Tennis and Learning Center in Washington, D.C., you realize just how ignorant your pitch to the Black and Latino community truly sounds. Furthermore, you calling Mrs. Clinton a bigot is like George Zimmerman being outraged over the tragic and senseless death of Philando Castile. You look stupid calling Mrs. Clinton a bigot. Just stop it, okay? Because you really do. You look stupid. Okay. As I said earlier, I'm a disabled black man currently collecting Social Security. In 2015, my wife and I owe the IRS in the state of West Virginia close to $8,000. You're constantly asking Mrs. Clinton about emails no one really cares about, but you continue lying to us about why you won't release your taxes. I love to see how much taxes a so-called billionaire pays. Will you ever accept Warren Buffett's challenge? Well, I'd like to see that. It's funny how you had absolutely no problem insulting the Khans, a Gold Star family, but had no insulting remarks for Mr. Buffett. I wonder why. Are you afraid of Mr. Buffett? If you ain't, take him up on his challenge. Alright? Now, you constantly attack the Obama administration on the handling of illegal immigrants. By your own admission, President Obama has deported more illegal immigrants than any other president in the history of our country. But you and your supporters continue to try and paint a picture of weakness and incompetence with his leadership. You can't have it both ways. So which way is it? Is President Obama weak and incompetent for enforcing the law? Or should he have just ignored the issue to give those who oppose him a legitimate reason to question his ability to lead our nation? To be quite honest, if Americans were truly concerned about illegal immigrants, why do Americans continue hiring? Right. Now let's address the war. You constantly say you didn't vote for or support the war waged under the Bush administration. You're not a congressman or a senator, so you couldn't vote for or against us going to war. It's easy to attack Mrs. Clinton's political voting record when you don't have one. Also, it's difficult to believe you would have voted against the war when you say, and again I quote, I would have bombed the SHIT out of them. That came from your mouth. That's what you said. So I really do find that hard to believe. Now, if God said he'd heal me of my disability, but I have to be you, I'd choose to remain in my broke up body. I have absolutely no respect for you or anyone who insults someone with a disability. I've been living with a C4-C5 spinal cord injury for 18 years. I feel safe in assuming that if you had to deal with the challenges I face on a daily basis, you'd fold under the pressure. Your narcissistic demeanor is incapable of supporting the adversities ordinary people face day in and day out. Unlike you, a vast majority of us don't have fathers who can give their children $1 million. And you call yourself a self-made man. Give me a break, man. After you lose this election, I hope you take Mr. Khan's advice and seek professional help. Dr. Phil, if you're listening, please reach out to Mr. Trump and get him the help he obviously needs. Peace out, y'all.